Awesome. Thanks, Chris. We're going to talk about how leveraging storytelling can help create a distinctive brand while effectively communicating complex ideas. Look into exploring strategies to stay ahead of emerging narratives, building emotional connections, and developing brand strategies that attracts and retain your target audience in an ever-changing Web3 environment. That was a lot of words, but basically we're going to go through various different marketing functions and the role that data plays those marketing functions at two organizations, Stellar and Horizen. So joining us today, Alexis from Stellar and Bryan from Horizen. If you guys want to give some quick backgrounds before I'll ask the first question.
Cool. I'll keep it short. My name is Alexis Downey. I'm at Stellar. I do our digital strategy and our marketing analytics. And Stellar, we are in the L1 now.
Sir.
All right. Can you hear me now? Cool. All right. I'm Bryan, Nowlan, marketing manager at Horizen Labs. Been with the team for about 3 years now. At Horizen Labs, we focus on two major initiatives, Horizen and ZK Verify.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, so it's pretty clear that effective marketing utilizes both data-driven and qualitative strategies. Would love to hear from both of you about the role that data and information plays in the marketing process at Stellar and Horizen.
At Stellar, data plays a very huge component. Our community is a core aspect to who we are. So understanding our Discord server metrics, our GitHub metrics, and understanding, are our users active? What are they doing? How is the community growing? Is it consistently growing? Those are core metrics for us, as well as our on-team metrics like TBL, and our share of voice is something that we track pretty consistently to understand where we are as unity.
So at Horizen Lab, we take data very seriously, and using a lot of the ties tools and working with Jackson and his team, we've set up a lot of dashboards where we're monitoring our competitors, seeing what they're doing, what their activity on social media is, how we're engaging, comparing to them. That's a good way for us to see, how we're on track, how much share of voice that we're capturing. Also for us, we've used a lot of tools with the tie and with Jackson to work on putting together a founder's persona for our CEO and for our leadership team. Looking at other leaders in the space, how often they're tweeting, what kind of content they're putting out, video, long form, that sort of thing. So to encourage our leadership team to, be very active on social media. A lot of times people like to see a more personable face rather than a brand account. So we use a lot of the data that we get from the Tives dashboard and other tools to kind of monitor what our competitors are putting out, competitor research, and then also optimizing our leadership team social media strategies as well.
Cool. Super helpful to hear. Yeah, a lot of times we see that KPI and OKR reporting play a really crucial role in the marketing process. Would love to hear you guys speak to some of the key success metrics that you guys use and the function of tracking them in such a dynamic and changing Web3 environment.
Yeah, sure. So to take this one, as I mentioned, at Horizen Labs, we focus on both Horizen and ZK Verify, which are two very different brands that kind of speak to different audiences. On the Horizen side, we're a lot more on the retail side with our cryptocurrency token Zen. So we look at, things like trading volume, market cap, accessibility in terms of exchange listings, integrations with wallets for our community, that sort of thing. We want to make sure that it's easy for, our users and our community to acquire and trade Zen, to store it safely. We want to make sure that, the trading volume is always increasing because as we go out, get different exchange listings, these metrics are really important. On the ZK Verify side, we kind of take a different look at that. And one of our major KPIs, what we look at right now, is we want all sorts of projects to be sending us zero knowledge of proofs. We want to verify those proofs. So for us, proofs is what we're focused on. So that's kind of one of our biggest KPIs and OKRs that we're working on right now. Also looking to form partnership for the ZK space with other leaders, things like that, kind of gauge is the success of the project. But for us, it's taking a really clear look at both, a very retail-focused audience as well as a very developer-focused audience. And we kind of align our KPIs and CRs for each product accordingly.
And at Stellar, our KPIs and OKRs are definitely a core phase that we value, even though the street always changing and always evolving. But the KPIs that really matter to us, maybe last quarter, was around our developer retention. We need developers built on the network. Like that is the overall, one of our overall goals, and understanding are our developers building, understanding our GitHub metrics by working with the TI, building their dashboards, and really diving into see where is the community struggling, are they growing, are they no longer developing. Like that has been a core problem and project for us to continue to work on and to build, to dive into. So that has been one of the core additions for us. And then our share of voice, just understanding where we are in terms of products. So if we're talking about stablecoin, if we're talking about tokenization, where does Stellar fall within that, and how can we get in the conversations that we are no longer in, and like what other content can you start writing about to help reach our institutions that we're trying to reach and enterprise level companies.
Yeah, and to kind of add on to that, we also take a deep look at Discord and Telegram community metrics. Like I mentioned earlier, for Horizen, it's a lot more of a retail-focused audience. For CK Verify, it's a bit more of a developer-focused audience. And on the Horizen side, we operate in a DAO structure. So one thing that's really important for us is we look at, how much of our community is turning out to vote when we put out, we call them Zen IPs, Zen improvement proposals. And over time, we want to see more people voting, more people in the community voicing their opinions. We're very active on Discourse as well as part of that. So we encourage our communities kind of get on there. Whenever people post a proposal to the community, there's X amount of days, where the community kind of get involved, give their feedbacks. We're always kind of looking at those metrics as well. And especially on the DAO side, we always want to see more and more of our community voting and getting involved in some of these proposals.
Awesome. Thank you. I want to give you guys an opportunity to brag a little bit about your projects and hear about some success stories. So we would love to hear an example from both of you of a successful marketing campaign. And also if you guys could speak to the role that data and analytics played in the success of that initiative.
Last year, we released smart contracts, and that allowed us to create a campaign called Build Better. And the goal was to understand how are developers building better, how can we make it easier so people can build better on the network. And that entire campaign was really focused on community and how can we retain the people that we have. And even beyond retaining, it's like, how can we get more people involved in community? Now that we have smart contracts, what else can we do? What other opportunities are there? So with running through that entire campaign, we were able to have more projects come apply, have more projects build on the network by introducing our smart contracts and showing that Stellar is now more robust and a network that people can start building on. And I think that campaign was successful because we finally have smart contracts. That was shared. People received the message, and then builders are started building. That's really all that Eamon asked for in a campaign at that.
Awesome. And for us, I'll kind of take it on the ZK Verify side. So a campaign that we ran a while back was we used this platform called Metascroll to put together an educational course for builders, for our community, to kind of educate them first at a high level about what, zero knowledge technology is, how it's used, and then taking a deeper dive into what ZK Verify is, how they can get involved, how they can play with some of our tutorials. So we built out, across marketing, product, and tech, we built out an entire educational course where users kind of run through different lessons. They would take quizzes. At the end, they would get an NFT generated. And as part of that, we would funnel them into our Discord where they would get, a Metaschool role. And then moving forward, we could target those users specifically. And for us, on the CK Verify side, we've been focusing a lot more on developer and builder acquisition. So to kind of be able to tap into this community, educate them about CK Verify, get them on a very basic level running, basic tutorials on CK Verify, getting involved, verifying proofs, showing us how they did that, proving that they did it. We just kind of gets them involved and interested, and then we funnel them into our incentivized testnet where we run other things like Galaxy Quest, we have builder activities, that sort of a thing where we issue points to those users. So we kind of funnel them into other communities, to our community, give them constantly things to do, to get involved, to learn more about ZK Verify, and kind of just stay busy. And we find that with that, we kind of get a lot more engagement in our Discord, our Telegram, new users coming in, asking questions, that sort of thing. So for us going into that, we had pretty strict KPIs and the amount of builders that we want to see come through. kind of blew that through the water. We had over 10,000 builders coming through the platform, building on CK Verify, joining our Discord. And then, like I said, funneling into our incentivized test bed program where we're seeing increased growth from Galaxy Quests, from building tutorials, that sort of area.
Awesome. That's super interesting. Yeah, broadly speaking, we worked with a number of token projects by this point, and we have found generally that educational campaigns could be very, very high efficacy in terms of a lot of these success metrics. So certainly something to consider for your own projects as well. Cool. Both super interesting examples. To close, we have one more question. Kind of hit on this a little bit in previous panels and also in the roundtables, but would love to hear from you guys, what are some of your biggest pain points and challenges in building a data-driven strategy in the Web3 context? We've heard a lot from previous panelists about some of the differences in doing Web2 to Web3 marketing, so would love to hear your guys' thoughts on the challenges there.
Yeah, sure. So, for me, I've been a marketer in the space for around 6 or 7 years now, and I found that for, a lot of the early days of crypto to where we are now, rightfully so, a lot of the focus has been on technology and on building. But what I like to see is a lot more focus now on marketing. And huge shout out to the TIE for throwing on this event, which is marketing focus. A lot of the events that I've seen at Denver this week are looking at marketing. A lot of projects are seeing the value of marketing and the benefits that it can provide. So I think the tides are kind of shifting a bit where a lot of projects are seeing the value of good marketing, kind of the exposure it gets to the brand. For me, some of the challenges I think on the marketing side is that crypto moves really, really fast. As we all know, every day it's something new. On the marketing side, we're kind of expected to keep up with all of these trends, implement them into our campaigns and strategies, and constantly adapt. And we have to, because one week something could work, the next week it might not work. You always have to adapt and change to what's going on in the industry. For us, looking at, Horizen and Zen, the retail side of it, a lot of our engagement, our community sentiment revolves around our token price, which ultimately we can't control. So for us, it's trying to keep the community excited and engaged, regardless of what the price of Zen is at the moment. And on CK Verify, we're trying to bring in these developers, and we're constantly trying to give them these fun activities in our incentivized test net, get them engaged, building, that sort of thing. So ultimately, I think that the space was really vast. As marketers, we're kind of expected to know everything that's going on, cover everything, adapt our strategies, take really complicated technologies, CK technologies, and kind of market it to our audience. And that includes advanced level developers and the inner retail audiences. So trying to take this very complex content from our product teams, from our cryptography teams, that sort of a thing, and market it in a way that's easy to digest to all audiences. I think that's a challenge, but with some of the tools mentioned earlier, like AI, it's like that, there's a lot of ways, the ties, dashboards, to kind of optimize this content.
I would say mine would be a 2-point that happens in Web 2, but also happens in Web 3, where it's going to be your attribution. When a person comes in to the point of, hey, they started building on the network, trying to trap that, understand, hey, this was a journey that they took because they sent a message to Telegram or they went to an event, trying to track that attribution from first touch, second touch is actually relatively difficult, and especially in Web3 because there are so many touch points. And then another unique one that seller would have is that once a builder is on the network and they have a project and they're ready to go live with it, it's like, all right, how do we get them marketing? How are we going to ensure they get users have to start using their project? And luckily, we have a really good grant program where we are starting to share that and give more resources to our developers and our community where, hey, once you go through this grant program and you are funded, hey, maybe they're going to reach out to you and connect you with people in marketing so that you will get market funding. So we are trying to bridge all of these issues and pain points that we have found and make it easier for an end user.
Awesome. Super, super helpful. Thanks, guys. Curious if anyone has questions from the audience for Alexis or Bryan. Go for it, Eric.
Sure. Alexis, you said you're interested in developer metrics on the seller community. 当然你也说 right? Metrics 先看就是说先新的Yeah, what's your
So right now, that's what we are using the tie for, and it's been very helpful. It's first community in Discord server, just what's happening in the server, who's shopping, who's most active, who's not active, when did they join. So understanding that in our Discord community. And then GitHub, it's those who are building. If they stop building, when did they stop, and trying to clear out why did they stop. They're trying to really reach out to the developers as an individual to understand, like, hey, how can we better fix this? So those are the main areas, is like your GitHub. The forks, yeah, the matter of that hasn't been like that nitty gritty of a focus that we are focused on right now.
Yeah. Thank you.
Current ecosystem sees that his own first Nowlan push test projects in all fields on there. What sorts of projects are each of your communities trying to attract?
Yeah, so on the Horizen side, we've been around since 2017, launches Zencash. Privacy has always been really important for us and one of our founding pillars. So for us, privacy, CK-focused projects has always been what we've looked to come and build on Horizen. On the token side of things with Zen, there's been challenges over the years with being a privacy token. So we've kind of taken a look at a more application level, and we want privacy applications to come and build on Horizen. With CK Verify, we want projects to send us their proofs. We want to verify their proofs, and we're constantly looking to add different verifiers to support different projects, cross-16, that sort of thing. So on both projects, you have Horizen Labs, we're very focused on CK, privacy, that sort of thing.
And for us, honestly, like all, as big as it is, like right now there is a very still focus on like wallets, but we still fund those who are just like, hey, we want to be an ambassador. We want to get more community, get more people rally about Seller. We'll also like take that into consideration in funds as well. So definitely all no real stuff with your Phobos right now.
Awesome. Thank you. Question as well?
Yeah, it was just about the concept focus and the fact that you said that, right, the issue is so fast. It really also see to be asked to what's going on versus when the monitor usually so the construct plans produce. So where's the balance here? And is there a example, or is there a best practice for reactivity versus proactions?
Yeah, really good question. I think for us, for me as a marketer, I would love to be less reactive and let me to plan out campaigns. But the way the crypto industry goes, that's not the case sometimes. So for us, what we use and what we get a lot of benefit out of is actually on the Ties dashboard is seeing some of these trending news topics. And we have Slack APIs that kind of push that news directly into our Slack. So we can kind of see, okay, a lot of leading voices in the space are all talking about this one thing, whether it's, DeepSeek, AI, that sort of thing. So we kind of work to react that way and kind of see what the top news is of the industry, what everyone's talking about on X and on Twitter. And then we, react and try to put out content that kind of fits that narrative. On the way of being kind of a little more proactive and planning, a lot of what our product marketing team works on is building out narratives for these different use cases, AI, gaming, privacy, that sort of a thing. So if I see that, DeepSeek AI is all over X, I have the resources available to me to kind of go put out content on how CK Verify can work with AI. So for me, I think it's a mix of both. We work really close with our product and product marketing teams to kind of put together narratives around some of these different hot topics, and that helped me have content ready to go. And then using tools like the Tie to kind of get pushed right into Slack of, multiple people in the space are talking about this. It helps me to kind of get on top of the news and push out content right away.
Quite similar, almost verbatim, is that we use the Tie in that same capacity where we can be aware of what's happening, who else is talking about this, understanding that, hey, this is a larger industry thing, not targeted towards us, so we're not going to be so reactive all the time. And on the bright side, we do have a social team, so that team can do the managing of reacting, because most things that require reaction are usually going to be on Twitter. So luckily they manage that. But yes, our product team as well, theirs is pretty strict and structured. And whenever there's new news, we can create small content to target that. But we do stick to like the KPIs and OKRs that we try to follow.
Yeah, that's a really, really good question. I say from like Ty's perspective, we recommend to be organized, have a plan, put your best foot forward, but also retain the ability to pivot at a moment's notice. We can either go down to the granularity of like, okay, You might have a 6-week ramp up and a plan, but the day of the announcement or the day of the campaign start, there may be a big hack or something else that is going to take up the complete mind share of the industry for the next couple of days. So they need to be ready to wait a few days. We even have like tools that both of them be able to use, understanding like the time of day and day of week effects for doing announcements and social posts. So we can really understand on like an hourly basis, like, is today a good day to do it? Is like in the next couple hours a good time to do it? Because you might need to wait and you don't want to waste a good announcement, a really good update at time when the market just does not have an appetite for something like that. Awesome.
Yeah, Bryce, Julia, also you, share high appreciation. So, Kiri, Wapar, always the Ure, it always kind of says by force bars on criteria, choice.
Yeah, so I think with that one, it's really important to kind of tap into multiple teams in your organization. So for us, we knew we had to work with our product team, our tech team to kind of put together some of the more technical content. I mean, for us, it took relatively a couple of weeks. It's kind of building things out on a Google Doc, having a lot of the team jumping in, building out some of that educational content. We already had an abundance of tutorials available in our documentation. So for us, it was kind of taking what was already there and putting it together in the educational course. And for us, we worked really, I think finding a good partner for this important. So for us, we partnered with Meta School, who kind of walked us through their best practices, their recommendations. They reviewed the content because ultimately it's their users that we're launching course for. So they kind of understood, what works well, what doesn't work well, what types of content. We worked really close with them to kind of go through all the content, go through the tutorials, go through the quizzes to make sure that it's something that their community would have no problems with, that it wasn't something that was a little too technical for their community. And that's something we did have to adjust. At first, some of the content we put together, us being very deep in FK, cryptography, that sort of thing, it was a little too technical. And they came back at Topa said, we took a step back, made it more high level, made it more about educating about CK. That was the first few lessons. It's more just not even about CK Verify, just about CK technology, where CK proofs, what are the benefits, modular blockchain, that sort of thing. So I think just working really close internally with different product and tech teams and then finding a good partner that's going to help you craft that content that fits their audience, which is great because then a lot of their audience then filters into our community and becomes builders and Apptruth members.
Awesome. Super interesting. Thank you guys all for listening in. This is the final panel, so thank you all for coming. We really appreciate everyone's time and just in case it